For hardcovers, again, it's the cloth book tape. Very, very sturdy, very heavy duty. It can handle a lot. Comes in all sorts of different colors. So you can purchase a few different ones and find the color that best suits whatever you're repairing at the moment. Comes in different widths as well. This is 2" because it's a fairly good standard size. And the wings that I made up, the wing template that I made up for you guys, is built for 2" tape. So this fits perfectly, and it creates a little wing like that. The wings are used to reinforce the edges of the, I guess I should put the lid on my knife, eh? Reinforce the edges of the tops and the bottoms of the spines, and it's good for reinforcing this front corner of the hinge as well. Because most books, when they're sitting on the shelf, they get pulled out by the top of the spine, which also causes the bottom of the spine to drag along the shelf. So those are very high damage areas in a lot of books, especially in a library setting. And this template is meant to be photocopied or traced or glued or whatever onto a heavier piece of poster board, and then you can just cut out the wings and use it as a template using the negative space, and you can cut wings that are the same size all day long. Works really good if it's laminated.
You make me so happy.
And it's a lot cheaper than the wings that you can buy from Brodart. It can be easily adjusted to fit different widths of tape. You can make this part wider. These I just drew up last night. So it's 2" from the top to the bottom corner, and so it fits a 2" piece of tape. And then just the length is just the length for to go across the top of the spine, to go across up here. And then I just came out another 2" to create the wings. And so with that in mind, you can easily create wings for any size of tape that you need and any length of spine that you need. Because the only difference between these is the length of the middle. The wing sizes themselves did not change, and they are still 2". And so with wings, they're good for trying to prevent the hinge damage like that, because it will provide a little bit more stability up at this top hinge. They're mostly for protecting the edges of the spine. So all you need to do, this is again where the cloth tape with the release backing comes in really handy, because you can make a bunch of them and just put them in a drawer, instead of having to try and cut these from tape without the backing, which I've never tried. Thank goodness we've always had release backing where I've worked, because that would be a headache and a half. And then you just line it up with the wings facing to the tops of the boards. Line it up along the top. To reinforce. And you want to burnish it into the outer hinges as well, so that it's not, because if you just wrap it over, then it's going to create a pulling force between the spine and the board, which will do more harm than good. So you want to really burnish it into the hinges. When you're doing any hinge repair requiring glue, or sometimes even with the tape, when you feel that weighting it would be good, using the kebab sticks or a knitting needle and placing that in the gutter of the spine there in the hinge, and then weighting it on top will put pressure and will really force the glue or the tape to adhere quite well. I've actually seen boards where they've taken a piece of brass along the edge and just given it a little tiny lip so that it fits right in the side of the hinge, and you can buy them. Me being the person that I am, I would make them by just getting a piece of brass or steel and attaching it to the edge of a piece of board burnishing. And just open it up and then just fold the wings in as tight as you can. And burnish. And same on the other side. And that has reinforced the top edge of your spine. So it will be less likely to completely fall apart when it is pulled off the shelf and it is already in a fragile state. Basic cover, a common cover damage for hard covers is along the bottom edge where they've been slid along the shelf, and corners where they've been dropped and the corners get all smooshed in. Corners are actually really, really easy to create yourself to help protect against further damage or to repair damage that has already occurred. All you have to do is cut out, not your finger, a square of cloth tape. Square enough. Pinch it down the middle and just cut out a little triangle. And you now have a corner that you can use to repair and protect corners that have already been damaged. A lot of the times, if it's been bad enough and it's a cloth covering, it will have completely worn away and you will be able to see the cardboard. And the corners are a very weak spot when it comes to that, because you get things that catch and they can now pull up along the front edge of the book as well. So you just line up the notch in your corner with the corner of the book. Always with the burnishing. And pull them on. Okay. That's good. Pull it up as tight as you can. Pull it across. Oh, see, this one I cut a little bit crooked. If you've got extras hanging off like that, you want to cut it just like any other time you've got tape hanging out. Again, for the reason that it will catch. There we go. And that's how you repair a corner. Again, it's a lot cheaper than buying the pre-made corners from Brodart, and something that if you're running low and you're in circulation, it's 8 o'clock at night and there's not a lot happening, you can just cut some corners. It makes you look busy. I've never worked, sir. No. And with any of the repair or damage along the edges, you can just cut a piece of tape and fold it over, and that will reinforce along the bottom and try and prevent some further damage. With soft covers, this poor guy is busy. quite glued yet, I'm sure. This is where a square comes in very handy, because you can rebuild corners just using the poster board, and they work quite well. You know, when possible, try to pick something that's close to your cover, because it's really obvious if they're not anywhere close at all. And in a circulating collection, it's nice if they look nice. This being old and probably fifth hand, I'm not too worried about it as it's coming out of my own collection. And so all you need to do is measure how big of a piece you need. You want you want to make sure that you've got a little bit of overlap. So for this one, if I do probably 2 by 2 inches square, that gives me a good bit of overlap. And so you want to make sure that the piece of poster board is actually square, because it's really hard to fit if they're not, and I've tried and it's not a lot of fun. Luckily for me, my cutting mat has the lines, the measurement lines on it, so I can tell already that this is fairly square. So we'll just measure out the piece that we need. And I'm going to use the square to line everything up here. Make sure that it's all nice and square. Getting it square is really the hardest part of this repair. There we go. So we've got the little piece that we're going to use to repair the corner. Okay, so we've got a nice clean square. And so you just want to line it up with your edge so that it replicates the missing part of the cover. And you can use glue to attach it, but you will still need to use tape as well, because you've got all of these frayed bits and the glue isn't going to be able to keep those down so that they don't catch on anything else. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a piece of wax paper behind it so that the tape doesn't get everywhere and start sticking on the rest of the book as well. Up. And with the lighter tape, this is not a repair that needs the drastically heavy tape. Actually, this tape is all dirty from it. This is one instance where you are going to more than likely need to wrap the tape around the edge. It's not ideal, but due to the nature of the repair, if you don't wrap the tape around the edge, there's still going to be this gap, and all that will be holding it on is just the tape on the front, which leaves it quite unstable. So you just want to push it over as tight as you can so that there's not a lot of tape hanging off the edge for it to catch. I'm going to trim the tape off of this side because my tape placement is not quite perfect. And flip it open and repeat. Tape on the other side. This one is going to need 2 pieces of tape because it is quite thick, so I'm going to do this edge first. On this side, because I've already pulled the tape over the edge on the bottom, I'm just going to trim the rest of the tape off. And then the next piece of tape, I will wrap it and bring it back up to the front. And that's how you repair a corner. Any other cover damage, if it's not missing big holes such as that, can usually just be repaired by taping along the edges and folding it over. And that usually will fix most problems. And the spine, which we've already taped today, that reinforces the spine and helps hold the covers and to try and protect against the damage along the outer edge of the spine.